All right, hi everyone. We are here again at IBIS, the Global Summit in Monaco. We're here today with Nick Spires of Fix Network. Nick, how are you today?
Good.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Fix's operations. Right now, Nick, you're based out of...
I live in the UK.
And he's been all over, setting up shops for Fix all over the world. So we were just chatting about it at lunch. So Nick, could you please tell us what you do for Fix Network World and how long you've been with the company?
Yeah, sure. So I basically joined Fix Network in 2016. We were just the Fix Auto brand, and the remit I was given was we need to expand the Fix Auto brand around the world, which sent me on some wonderful travel and met some lovely people around all over the place, from Australia, China, UK, obviously where I'm from, Germany, and then when Steve acquired the Novus brand, the job role changed drastically, where we were no longer just a collision business. We became a glass business as well. And then fast forward into where we are today, I currently work as a Director of Strategic Initiatives, and basically that means working on various projects, defining the scope for those projects in line with the objectives set by senior management. So that could be business development of new markets, or operational processes for existing markets, or it could just be how do we drive the consistency across our brands around the world. Obviously we have Canada as the mothership, so there's been a lot of best practice done in the Canadian business, coming up to 30 years now, I believe, with the Fix Auto.
Yes.
So it's something that we need to replicate, some of that great practice that's been really successful in the Canadian market, and move that around to our other markets. But also, we're fortunate that we have so many great partners, and when I say partners, I mean franchise partners around the world who ultimately have more knowledge than anybody. And the key thing there is that we can put all their knowledge together, their aggregated knowledge together, we can then share the best practices around the world. So what we've tried to do what I've been trying to do over the last sort of 6 or 7 years now, is to try and take the best practices we find in the different markets, standardise that so we can then roll that out across all of the markets to make the franchise system more consistent and more predictable to the franchisee, and also to our work provider partners and suppliers. So
Lots of consolidation across the board right now.
yeah, absolutely.
So would you say that's the Fix Network principle? Is that how you franchise your store to interested parties?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're a franchising business, and at the centre of what we do are our franchise partners, because those guys are the ones that have to do the work day to day. We then try to give them the system and the structure to make their jobs easier. So yeah, that at the centre of everything we do, all of the best ideas come from the franchisees. So it's how can we become the platform to then move that around the world to drive that consistency, and we're stronger together. So
yeah, and I've visited plenty of Fix Auto facilities in my day, and I've been to their training center in Milton, and it's just incredible to see what you guys do, and the collaboration of your team. It's just, you're like a family.
Yeah, and that's ultimately it. That's the number one thing for me is that we used to call it the Fix family, but we're now more than just Fix Auto. So it's the family, the Fix Network group of companies and the family. So I think that's important to me, and I think that's one of the main drivers to the success, really, is that ethos of family.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, Nick, Fix Auto is celebrating 30 years this year. That's a big milestone, very exciting. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary,
right.
So we also know that this is a big deal for you. What are Fix's plans to extend the brand globally any further?
Okay, so obviously the strategy sort of changed a little bit from where it was back in 2016, 2017, where we were trying to establish the Fix Auto brand in various markets. We've now been successful in opening up some new markets, but we now need to put our effort and focus on developing and supporting those new markets, like the German market, for example, the Australian market, where we have a presence there, but we now need to really start to grow and build the network, with the ultimate goal trying to replicate what the mothership in Canada are doing. So,
and across the board, like, what a huge fabric you guys are building with all of these shops everywhere around the world. Like, off the top of your head, do you know how many shops you have in the network?
Well, it depends if we're talking about Fix Auto or if we're talking about Novus.
Pro Color.
I would say we're probably at the moment around 40 countries
Wow.
I would say, across the brands. But that's various different levels of what we do. So we're not franchising in all those countries. We have some supply partners there, who's selling some of our products. So we've got a presence or some form of point of service in and around, I think, 40 countries, I think it is. But from a Fix Auto perspective, I think we're currently in 10 countries.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Just as Fix Auto Pro. But as you mentioned, you've got many different brands under that portfolio. And we were talking earlier when Nick first joined the company, it was just Fix Auto, as he said at the beginning. But now it's just a huge fabric. So as you mentioned, you've been around the world visiting body shops. We're signing partners to the franchise. So how do you see body shops around the world benefiting from a partnership with Fix?
Well, I think, quite often, I'm from the body shop background. When I left school, that's the career I took. And most body shops I've been to, particularly in the UK where I was, raised, body shop owners spend an awful lot of time working in their business as opposed to working on their business. So I believe by partnering with us, we give them that sort of platform and that structure that they can actually then just concentrate on the business and not so much in the business, because we're giving them the platforms, the systems, the software, the data migration that we can actually then start to analyse and pick out what it is going to help that business perform better, which ultimately is more profitable for the franchisee. It's better for us because it means they become a more sustainable business. And then obviously, the body shop owners, it's an aging brand, so it's one of those things where we need to find how can we offer the most amount of value to that body shop owner. So that should most of them don't have a succession plan. So how can we help them with that as well?
Absolutely. I love that you were in the body shop. I mean, kind of a similar story to Steve. Of course, he owned his own, but very similar background there. And I love that the people at Fix have the experience of being on, the ground zero of what collision repair really is.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Nick, for chatting with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of IBIS.
And you, thank you very much.
Awesome. All right, we are here again at IBIS, the Global Summit in Monaco. We're here today with Frederick Fischer. How are you today, Frederick?
I'm very well. Very well, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. Are you having a good time so far?
Yeah, it's good to be here and meeting you, actually.
Absolutely. Mr. Fischer, what's your role with Fix Network World, and how long have you been with the company?
I've been for a little more than 2 years now in the company. My role is VP for the EMEA region, so including Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
It's a pretty big region. Like we were just talking with Nick,
it's a vast actually region. It's really huge.
So when you're dealing with that many different regions, I'm sure the way that body shops work in the different regions is it varies. So
it varies. Mm-hmm. It varies. Actually, the EMEA is vast, as you said.
Yes.
But Europe is also vast. So we think Europe is Europe, but Europe is actually 27 different countries, and you can't really compare, the French habits or processes with the German ones or Italian or Spanish, or they all differ. The culture are different, languages, methods, processes.
Insurance is different too across the board.
Absolutely, relationship with job providers, insurers, they all make the picture quite complex.
Absolutely.
So my aim is actually trying to get all these processes aligned and improve them so we can bring predictable consistency to our franchisees.
Absolutely.
That's basically, and development as well.
So where do you see opportunities popping up for Fix Auto across the EMEA region at the moment?
Yeah, with the COVID and the outbreak that hit us, we have, let's say, realigned our priorities. So now the aim for us is actually to reinforce the countries and where we are currently established and where we currently operate. So that would be the first priority. The second one would obviously be to open new countries, either managing them directly. So we would have a master franchisee role, or signing new deals depending on the country with a partner, with a master franchisor, owning the rights and operating the development for us.
different ways to do it.
Different ways, according to the country, to the potential. But right now the strategy is to reinforce the markets, the countries where we do operate.
Absolutely, sounds very complex and well, you're so calm when you talk about it and it sounds
Oh,
so
you
moving.
think so? Well, I'm acting calm. I'm a false calm. It's boiling inside, but
It is pretty hot out here right now, but we won't keep you for much longer.
no, that's
I know
all right.
Fix Auto has grown considerably across France, the UK, and Spain. What do you see opportunities for body shops in the EMEA region? What do you think is really the hook, line, and sinker that draws them in and makes them want to sign on with Fix?
There are actually many different things. Since Steve Lill, our president, created the company, it's always been a mind setting. It's a family business,
Yeah.
so it's a. I mean, we're kind of a multinational, but we operate in a very family-oriented way of thinking. So we want to be very close to our partners, franchisees, or master franchisors. But more than that, we bring solutions and processes. So we have large training processes that we propose to our
You
partners.
have training centers in Canada as well.
Yeah, we have huge training centers in Canada, in the US, though not yet in Europe, but it's a matter of time, I believe. We bring, strategic advices. We bring IT solution, HR solution, because one of the thing that, and we've touched on that this morning a
yes.
little bit. The thing is that our franchisees, our partners, they more and more need to be, real managers, because we face lacks of spare parts, for instance. The ratios, the managing ratios, operating ratios, are not as flexible as they used to be in the past, because there are no talents. They're very hard to recruit. The processes are tightened even more than they used to be, as I said. So he needs to be a really good manager in every, let's say, compartment of the business. And we're here for help.
Yeah, and all
And
of
we
your
provide those trainings, advices, and consistency.
Yeah, and all of your other facilities across the world are there to help as well. Like I've seen at CCIF, which is a forum we have in Canada, how all the shops come together and take a big group photo, and everyone is just so friendly towards each other, and it's just so great having a network like that for support. So thank you so much for speaking with us today,
Thanks to
Frederic.
you. It was nice.
Have a great time at IBIS. We'll see you around,
you.
and we'll see you next time on Collision Repair Mag.